The lab leak theory is growing bigger by the day. Every day we get a new piece of information and new circumstantial evidence that makes a leak appear like a real possibility. The latest report comes from the United States. It's not really new, but it's in focus now. This report dates back to May 2020. It was prepared by scientists who were studying the Wuhan virus for the US government. What did they find? Did they say that the virus escaped from a lab? Well, they said it's a possibility that cannot be ruled out. May 2020. They believe that a lab leak was plausible and that it deserves more investigation. Who made this assessment? Reports say it was the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory in California. Now, this is not your average scientific research lab. It's one of the top labs run by the US government. It has an intelligence arm called the Z Division. Going by one assessment, this Z Division works closely with the US intelligence community. They provide them with technical assessments of nuclear arms and nuclear programs. It is also said to have considerable expertise in biological issues. Reports say the US Department was leaning on this lab, the State Department was leaning on this lab and its assessment when the Trump administration began its own probe into the origins of the pandemic in the final months of his presidency. The result was this classified assessment. The US State Department is said to have received this report in late October 2020. It made a strong case for more investigation into the lab leak angle. So the State Department asked for more information. Remember, all of this happened last year, and it's important to underline why this was a significant development. Remember, the global scientific community was split about the origins. They still are. Some scientists simply dismissed the possibility of a man-made virus. And in the middle of this debate, we had a well-respected American laboratory throwing its weight behind the lab theory. Now, the Biden administration has ordered another investigation. They're convinced that China has not been transparent. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken has vowed to hold China accountable. He has said that global pressure can force Beijing to be transparent. And now America's National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan is saying the same. While discussing the issue of reforms at the World Health Organization, Sullivan backed a second investigation into the origins.
Some of those reforms are more programmatic and bureaucratic. They relate to ensuring greater efficiency and effectiveness in responding to things like the outbreak of COVID-19. Some of them are about making sure that there is not undue influence or interference by any single member state or country in the WHO. And then some of them relate to very targeted issues like the COVID-19 origins investigation, where I have personally and we collectively have been quite vocal about our view that there needs to be a second round to this investigation that truly gets to the heart of the matter, which is the original data and original information that is still being withheld by China. And our hope is that in the coming months we will see a credible international investigation progress, including in respect to those items.
It's good to have hope. But if America is banking on the World Health Organization, it may be hoping for too much. The WHO is powerless when faced with China. We've always known this. Now, the WHO is saying it in so many words. At a press conference, a top official was asked how the World Health Body will compel China to be more open. The response speaks for itself.
WHO doesn't have the power to compel anyone in this regard or in other regards. And in that sense, WHO does not have the power to investigate or enter countries without the express permission and cooperation of that country. That is the basis on which the organisation is established in its constitution. It's a member state organisation.
So basically, the World Health Organization is saying we cannot do much. If Beijing does not want another investigation, it may not happen. And they're right. In the first investigation, the WHO team was chaperoned by the Chinese state on a guided tour of Wuhan. The investigators were handpicked by China. Their access to the Wuhan lab was controlled by China. Reports say these investigators were allowed to spend only 3 hours at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. And on the basis of this limited access, they labeled the possibility of a lab leak, quote unquote, the least likely. This entire exercise made people and experts forget about the possibility of a leak. Former US Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice has now spoken out. She claims that the United States made a big mistake by dismissing the possibility of a leak in the early weeks. Now, America wants scientists to visit China again. China will have none of it. It has declared an end to this investigation. It has rejected all demands. In fact, China says if the second investigation is to be carried out at all, it should begin from American labs. It's a classic stalemate. We're tracking all the moves for you. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.